Hello, and this is the introduction to a tour through the crypts of SuperMonsterCity. We were honored and excited that Plastic EP, Mr. Plastic Fantastic himself, reached out to us all the way from Melbourne, Australia, to want to go on a digital tour, a wild ride, an unscripted, mayhem-filled trip through adventure and darkness. You will see us as we go on, like the Blair Witch Project fools that we are, daring against unreliable Wi-Fi, daring against shadows and bad lighting to capture the spirit and imagery of SuperMonsterCity. So we're going to cut now to the beginning of our tour. There's another cut in there, and I'll see you when we're done, okay? Thanks again for all your help, enthusiasm, and support. This is Dave, the Super Collector at SuperMonsterCity. Go check us out now. Bye-bye. You have my permission to record this interview in the crypts of SuperMonsterCity. We are going on a mad, mayhem-filled tour through monsters, heroes, villains. We are time traveling. We're going to examine pop culture. We're going to see things you've forgotten, see things you never knew existed. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Well, as long as the Wi-Fi holds up, because often the ghosts in the crypts and the lost souls, they reach out and grab the World Wide Web in both hands and rip it asunder. But if you're ready, let's go.
I'm ready. Let's go.
Come with me. Deep.
Let's go.
Deep, deep. At the
Deep
moment.
into the crypt.
Well, are you still there? You're fading out. Maybe the ghosts are getting you.
No, I'm ready to go.
Well, right now we are in what most people would call the kitchen. But since I've taken it over and started digging in the mayhem over this last few months, if you'll see about that run up there, that's like all the masks I've acquired from my tours through like 6 continents. We've got masks from Africa, Thailand, South America, and more. So anytime I've been traveling around the world, I have tried to buy the creepiest and the most horrific of things. And then if you look up over here on this wall, that's of course some framed small prints. They're not vintage, they're nothing, but they're some of our favorite movies, aren't they?
Oh yeah, they look great.
That's right. And then if you look right over here at that little purple rat, that's a Cthulhu rat from the H.P. Lovecraft mythos. That's a horror rat that we bought somewhere in Seattle. Now, come with me. We're going to take since we're right here, we're going to take a look at where.
It'll be kind of scary. We're going downstairs.
No, we're not.
No, we're not?
No, we're going this room.
Into a room.
Hey, Dave, you don't want to grab a sandwich on the way through, do you?
Some whiskey is more my style. Now,
okay.
If you have a floor-to-ceiling pan here.
Floor-to-ceiling?
Floor-to-ceiling. Now, this room goes back at least 8 or 10 feet, and it's a 12-foot ceiling, and every box in here is full of toys. All right?
Unbelievable.
Take a look over here. This is where exhibits yet to be are waiting to happen. This is where all the stuff is lurking. When I decided to suddenly create a toy exhibit, I thought, well, we got to get all the toys in one room. And so I started culling and collating and collecting and putting them all in boxes so that when the museum idea did pop, we would have a place to go look. Unfortunately, I don't even know what's back there anymore. So Ruth's going to back up, and then we're going to go down a set of spooky stairs. And we're going to have to see. Come with me. I will be your tour guide. Yeah. She doesn't want to fall down these spooky old stairs. You still with us?
Yeah, I'm still with you. Let's hope the Wi-Fi holds up. Let's go down the cellar.
All right.
Yeah.
Come down into the depths, the dungeons where the ghosts are treading lightly and the skeletons have no tails. We're going to go in a room we call the exhibit room, the exhibits yet to be room. And we're going to look at a couple of things.
Who's that guy on the corner there? That scary guy.
Hello. I told you the Wi-Fi was unreliable. There's one room in the crypts below that does not connect to anything from the outside world. Whether it's supernatural or beyond supernatural, I don't know. But now we're going to go back to a second beginning, a second start. We decided that we'd start over and go a different direction on a different part of the tour. So come on, let's go to the second part of the tour. Bye-bye.
I'm Dave, the master collector at SuperMonsterCity, and we create exhibits that go to museums. What we hope is that you'll ask curators in your neighborhood, at your museums, your history centers, your galleries, your libraries, and that you'll show them some of the cool stuff we're doing, or you'll send us their contact information. Because what we really want to do is bring the exhibits that we have, America's monsters, superheroes, and villains, or we've got another exhibit about kaiju. We've got another exhibit that we're working on about space and spies. And we've got an exhibit about Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. So luckily, I've been honored enough to be asked by you, Plastic EP. That's you, Plastic EP. Can I call you Plastic Fantastic or Captain Plastic?
Please, call me whatever you like. All my friends call me Plastic.
All right, Plastic, let's go. We're going to do the first floor first. And then we're going to send you video from downstairs. It'll be like a lost footage adventure from Blair Witch Project. And hopefully you'll be able to get it out there and find out what happened to us. What we're going to do is we're going to go this way. Come on down the hallway here.
Let's go.
First, Ruth, if you want to take a look, we got some good masks up there that I also dragged around from the whole world. So we've got masks from the Witches Market in Bolivia. And we've got masks from an artist market in Bolivia. We got a mask from Bhutan. We've got another African mask. And I've just been collecting all this junk over the last 60 years to give it a safe haven. I've always thought of this as the Shangri-La of cool toys. That sound good, Plastic?
It sounds great. I'm still here. Don't worry. I'm loving the tour.
All right, well, come on. Now, I grew up with amazing parents. My father actually wrote articles for Mad Magazine. Since I wasn't going to show you the first floor, but if you look in here, here's my parents' bathroom, and he knew a guy that was a cartoonist. And in 1955, he had this cartoonist draw all this goofy stuff so that all these guys are peering at you.
That's great. What, when you're having a bath?
Yeah, exactly. And
Weird stuff in the bathtub.
oh, there's weird stuff in the bathtub. Oh, Ruth's mom made that guy in the bathtub. Take a look at him. He was in the haunted house, the Dungeons of Darkness and Doom.
Unbelievable.
Now we're going to go into the den, and there's a lot of cool stuff. We'll just kind of do a panning shot, and if there's something that you like, shout out about it. This is a bookcase full of junk. There's monsters and mayhem, and there's more books than you could shake a stick at.
Where'd you get that green skull from?
The green guy over here?
Yeah, where'd you get him from?
Good call. That was a really good friend of mine back in high school and college, and he sculpted that. And sadly, he's no longer with us, and his sister gave it to me because she knew it would be safe here. So that's a handmade skull from the picture of Dorian Gray.
That's great. Is that dust on there? Have you got dust on purpose there?
Oh, yeah, I never dust here at all. Are you
Okay.
kidding me? Dust
It
is
looks
part of
it.
When you see footage from downstairs, when you get it, there's spiders playing amongst the toys. And I thought I'd show you something because you might have a lot of monster collectors out here, and I want to give these guys a shout out. This is a company called SCS, and you can get these tubes of monsters on Amazon. You get 100 monsters for 20 bucks. These are classic good monsters, and I want to give them a shout out because I keep buying them and giving them to all my friends. Plus, wait, there's more. They also do a canister of fantasy creatures, and you've got ogres and dragons and centaurs and just two-headed thugs and dwarfs and all sorts of cool guys in there. Same company.
That's great value.
I know. I mean, just go on Amazon, look up Monster Toys, ask for the Wicked Duels, 90 figures. I thought it was 100, and it's from SCS. Plus, they've got a great tube of zombies. How could you go wrong with a tube of zombies?
You should carry that with you everywhere you go, Dave.
Well, I sort of give them away a lot. When I meet kids,
Okay.
I try and give them away, or when I'm sending presents to people. Here's a whole tube of robots. How could I just accidentally discovered these? Because occasionally you do that quest like monsters, Google, Amazon. Suddenly they popped up. Here's another one that's humans versus aliens. This is pretty cool. Someday, like I said, after this first tour, Plastic, we can talk about what you want to see next.
Great.
And
I'm loving it.
I thought I'd give you a little look at, let's get in the light here. I just discovered these guys recently, and we're going to look at some more later. These are MPC mini monsters. Now, back in the 60s, you got these for free when you bought a lunch. You'd call it a lunch pack of Fritos. It was 5 bags of Fritos in a shrink wrap box, and there was a mini monster. Now, I just happen to love these because if you can't tell, they were played with in the dirt and they have yet to be cleaned.
Unbelievable.
So, and then the other cool thing, we were just getting some of these copied up. My father worked in a television station for his whole life, and I used to wander that place all the time as a kid when that was doable. And this was like part of the sales promotion stuff that the salesman would use to sell time sponsorship commercials in a show. So I pulled the Star Trek ones and the Perry Mason ones and Gilligan's Island. So come on into this room.
Monkeys? Did you get the monkeys one?
No, there wasn't monkeys on our station. So,
Okay.
but I've got something coming up for you. Now we're going to go into the living room. Let's do kind of a quick panning shot with Ruth.
It's great.
Just start here. These boxes you're looking at are going to an exhibit in St. Louis at the public library next year. Just this week, we sent out 400 pieces to the Bellevue Art Museum. Now, right now, it's August of 2020. That show opens in September of 2020. America's Monsters, Superheroes, and Villains. And what we tell is the huge story of monsters, heroes, and villains in our culture. And we have 5 parts to this adventure. We have unintended consequences, which is your aliens, your space monsters, your unintended radioactive beasts, all that kind of cool stuff from the 50s, giant bugs. And then we've got Truth, Justice, and the American Way, which is kind of the DC universe, and conformity. Because, if you remember, Daniel, in the 60s, the DC heroes were not that exciting. Do you remember?
Exactly. But I also got to tell you, the green ghost behind you? We had that here in Australia. That's great.
Excellent. That's a great game. That was one of my favorite slumber party games because it glowed in the dark.
I remember that.
Yep. And then you put your hand in. Eventually, like I said, we can talk later about what I have to drag off the pile and maybe you look at it in depth. But right now, I just wanted to give you a big overview.
Right.
Come on over here. We're going to take a look over here. I thought I'd put this little speaker down. Here's some, you remember trading cards, right, Daniel?
Yeah, of course. Plastic to you.
Here are some boxes that are pretty rare. There's the superhero bubblegum trading box from Marvel.
That's fantastic. I love this.
Here's the Batman, the first series of Batman cards. These were drawn. And, I've got a whole corner of this house that's got all the trading cards in it. We can look at that later. So there's Batman. Here's James Bond from Thunderball.
That's great. I love that.
And then I thought I'd pull this out just for you.
Thank you. I love it. Second series. The monkeys box. I love it.
And so those are we've got trading cards, we've got posters, we've got toys, we've got books, I've got comic books, I've also got film clips. It's all happening, and that's why the museums like it, because it's kind of this overreaching. It's not just one thing, it's everything.
It's unbelievable.
And since we're commercial for the exhibit, SuperMonsterCity has currently published 2 books. This is Frankenstein. And it's 200 years old. And so we decided to honor its birthday and create this book with art from around the world. And we published it in the original 1818 text. So it's got some really nice pictures by about 17 different artists. There's Dr. Frankenstein contemplating it,
It's great.
And then we've got some really nice pieces coming up that I really like. There's the monster all pensive. And then that's one of our books we published. And the one I hate to say I'm proudest of is the Frankenstein Companion. You'll like this one because it's original artwork and it's all the toys and pop culture references to Frankenstein.
Unbelievable.
Now, these books are available on Amazon. If you go to SuperMonsterCity on Facebook, you'll find a link so you can buy these. But what I liked about this is I got to put in all my favorite toys. Like there's a Bride of Frankenstein from Imperial. You know, there's somebody's rendition of Frankenstein being in love. There's some plush brides. You know, there's some comic book action. And then we've also got, that's a Marx Frankenstein and a Palmer Frankenstein from the 60s. There's a Jamar puzzle that I'm madly in love with. So
Yeah,
both these books are available. Let's look at another pile that we won't look at today. This is all more stuff. I know you're going, holy mackerel, we're not seeing anything. But I'm trying to give you an impression of what's here. But Ruth, if you want to back up a little bit, I'm going to use this table to show plastic some really cool stuff. We are currently working on an exhibit about spies and space. This is going to be
into that. I'm right into the Man from Uncle.
So here's the Man from Uncle game. And of course, we still got all the pieces. You know, you started out and you made it. So there's where you start. And then you end up over here. And, oh, sorry. Can you see that?
Yeah, I see it. It's beautiful.
So we figured that there's a story to tell about sort of who we were in the 1960s about the space race and the Cold War. And so we're going to use toys so people get excited about that. Let me get another incredible footlocker of mayhem for you. Let's open up this and see who's inside. Well, do you remember Odd Job?
Yeah, I do, from James Bond.
You bet. So here's my Odd Job doll. Here is my Napoleon Solo doll, except that he's got G.I. Joe pants on.
Still very rare.
Yeah, and the James Bond doll is in a exhibit box, so I can't find him at the moment. And the Ilya Kuryakin doll is also in exhibit box somewhere. We'll find him later for you. So that was pretty cool. We're going to put him off to the side. Let's get another box of Spies in Space out. Let's see who's in this box. Oh my goodness. Oh, here's a Man from Uncle box from Cards. Napoleon
Fantastic.
Solo.
Let's zoom in. That's great. I love that.
There's some tops. There's Ilya Kuryakin. There's Napoleon Solo. David McCollum. Robert Vaughn. There's a nice Corgi James Bond car from the Roger Moore days. Here's a cute little magazine. My parents bought me this in second grade so I could write a report about Ilya Kuryakin for second grade.
That's great. People loved him.
Yeah. I mean, I liked him because he seemed, I don't know, more human than the other guy, Napoleon Solo. And then here's one of the things I found. I was shooting this the other day for another video. And I said, wow, there's the Man from Uncle bottle, right?
Yep.
Now, wait a second. You know what that means?
Jigsaw puzzle.
No, it means the model. I never put it together.
Oh, fair income.
So here's the model in here, and there's all the pieces still on the spindle. I've got one of these that's made somewhere, and it'll probably go to the Spies exhibit. But what's really nice for those of you who are too young to remember models, you remember this, of course.
Yeah, of course. But look at that. It gives you the diagram how you put it together. Great.
Right.
The instructions.
Right, and what was great, and then you painted it, and you remember the glue?
Yes, I do.
The glue was
Airfix.
kind of, yeah, it was kind of got you spooked out. I mean, it got taken off the market eventually. Oh, here's the Napoleon Solo box.
It's great.
And then, again, this is from an exhibit we're going to be putting together in the next year or so, Man from Uncle magazine. And then now here's the Man from Uncle gun in its holster.
That's
So
fantastic. I love this spy stuff.
This was a cap gun, and then, you
Look
know,
at that.
there's the holster, and that goes in there. And then coming up over there, we've got the Man from Uncle briefcase. I don't know why this isn't in it. I'll have to move it. But here's my Man from Uncle wallet. Wow.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and so somehow this was like one of those cool little, you wrote in red, and there's all sorts of other cards in here. Here's baseball cards and all sorts of stuff. But you know, as a kid, you thought this was so adult. It was so much fun.
Of course.
And then, I don't know if you remember, but this was a line of books. They'd been around since my parents' time, and they made a resurgence in the 60s. They were called Big Little books.
Yep.
And they were 2x3. Does this ring a bell at all?
It does. We had the bigger one, but I do remember the smaller ones too.
Again, a Man from Uncle Big Little book. Oh, but wait, here's another gun. And now here's a bunch of guys we're going to set up. These are Mark's plastic figures, and I've got Thrush and Uncle guys. The Thrush guys are all really tough looking. I mean, look at that guy. He looks like he'd give you a karate chop and knock you right out. And he's a tough guy. He's wearing a beret.
Exactly.
Here's a guy like, he's waiting to make a meeting happen. He's like going, wait, I got my big cellular phone. Oh, here's a guy going to conk somebody over the head. He's got that pistol in his hand.
That's a beauty.
Now here's a Thrush agent. He's in Thrush uniform with a Thrush gun.
Yeah, that's great.
Here's another Thrush guy, looks kind of like a burglar. These are all the bad guys that we were playing with. But now, for some reason, you remember Mr. Waverly, right?
Yeah, I do.
That's Mr. Waverly, and he's blue. Napoleon Solo is white. And Ilya Kuryakin, in his turtleneck, he's white as well. So they're the good guys versus the bad guys.
That's great. They must be very rare. I've never seen them.
I don't know if I've seen them anywhere else either. That's why I like getting this stuff out, because every time we send stuff out, it's like either I had that, I wanted that, I've never seen that, or I burned that, or I blew it up. That's what we hear all the time. Because, a lot of times when you get a little bit older, you start burning all your toys. And that's what we really like about the fact that I saved them all, because I was that funny kid that didn't want to wreck his toys. And I got doubles of everything. Oh, by the way, here's an Aston Martin from the James Bond series.
It's great.
Well, let's put the Man from Uncle back, and we're going to go look at some other cool stuff. Because you're such a willing audience. That's what I love about you. You get excited about all this stuff.
I do, because no one's got it.
Let's look at a couple more things from this pile. Bringing it on over. Now again, Lost in Space.
Oh, that's
Remember
great.
Irwin Allen. And again, this is the crazy thing about this house. I'll go, oh, great, I got to put this in a video. And I go, wait a minute. It's never been made either.
That's fantastic. It's not made.
I've got at least two of these that are put together. And one of them I made the Cyclops, and then I played with them and broke them all to bits. But again, there's your instructions.
Great.
Now, the Lost in Space model came in two versions. There was one with the Chariot. You remember the Chariot?
Yeah, that's right.
Right, that was their vehicle. So that's going to go in that goofy exhibit I was telling you about. Now, I'm not sure how much this will play, but do you remember I Spy?
Yeah, I do.
Of course, the big star was Bill Cosby.
Of course. Can I ask you a question, Dave?
Please.
Behind you, is that Mr. Snyder in the chair from the Monkeys on the other side? There's a guy sitting in a chair. Is that Mr. Snyder?
This guy over here?
Yeah.
No, that's actually Ruth's mother made that for a creepy doll room at my haunted house.
Cool.
So it's made out of like recycled bits and pieces, and it's sort of like the wolf from Little Red Riding Hood. And as you'll see right next to it, that's the Aurora model box right there.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, there's stuff all over this place.
That model actually looks a bit like, when Jerry Lewis turned into the other guy.
Yeah, very good.
From that movie Love. What was his name?
Very
Buddy
good.
Love.
Yeah, Buddy Love. It's actually more of a Frederick March version. It's like mid-transformation. I don't know if you remember the three big versions were John Barrymore, and then Frederick March, and then Spencer Tracy. And Frederick March was the more bestial of the three. Now, I've got a couple of more spy things, then we're going to move on to another box of junk, if you're having fun.
That's great. This isn't junk. This is history.
I know. That's why I kept it. This is our living history. This is the stuff we all share. This is time travel. It's like, if you weren't there, wouldn't you want to be there? I mean, we all had a good time. This, of course, is a little squirt gun camera from the spy era. You fill it with water, and then you'd be like, here, let me take your picture. And you go like this, and ha, 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 and you get the kid. Now, let's take a look at this, and I have to put that wallet in here one of these days. Here's our Man from Uncle briefcase. The gun goes here.
Yep.
The clip goes here. I'm pretty sure that was the clip went. That was a cap bomb. Do you remember cap bombs?
Yep.
And then here's another wallet. Oh my goodness. And another some kind of wallet. It's been 50 years. I can't remember all this. This is what the cap bombs went in. That was your holster for cap bombs. So that was my Man from Uncle briefcase. I've got the James Bond briefcase, but it was cheap plastic. It didn't last well. I'm almost embarrassed to bring it out. So let's take a look at some Irwin Allen.
Yeah, that's great.
So I know you like
the bottom of the sea.
What was that?
Voyage to the bottom of the sea.
Right. So now here is the Chariot from the Lost in Space. And what it was all about was, this is from oh my goodness, the rocket wants to go off. It was from the robot's falling out the back. It was from a series called Switch and Go. And you had this battery operated, and it operated on a very thin plastic pipe, for lack of a better word. And since the pipe fit in that slot, you could just turn it on and it would follow the pipe. And that was kind of a cool toy back in about the early 60s.
That's cool.
You know this guy?
Yeah, from Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea.
Right, that's the flying sub model from Aurora. It needs a bit of a clean. And it came, and then that's a model. This was from the Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea playset. And there's the Sea View. And the way it worked was, there was a nasty, look at that rubber band. It's got to be 50 plus years old. You put a rubber band here and you twisted this. Remember, like airplane propellers? And then you put it in your bathtub and let go, and this thing would go and go all over.
That's great for kids.
Oh yeah, it was good fun. Here's the Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea card game.
That's great. That's rare. I remember that.
It's a bit like Uno in that you've got colors and numbers. And yeah, so that's all kicking around here at Super Monster
I love
City.
the artwork. I love the artwork from the box.
Right, and then this was the octopus that came with the play set. And that was, so, you know, you kind of see that whole thing going on. This, unfortunately, also came with the play set, but I kind of busted it up and tried to fix it.
Sure.
It was sort of the flying sub of that play set. And it used to have two cannons there, and I busted them off. And then I tried to use, I don't know what sealant to put one of the cannons on the back to shoot guys chasing you. Oh, well. Well, here's another.
You can paint that yellow again.
I could, yeah. But wait, what did I just find? There's another stinking box of Lost in Space. That's the second box we've seen today.
That's great.
Well, yeah. I mean, every time I dig in this place, I find stuff I didn't know. Now, I don't know if you can see these guys. Those were the figures that came with that Lost in Space or Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea playset. They were your underwater guys.
Exactly.
They weren't they were sort of the minesweeper guys, which are never the best guys, but oh, what can you do? All right, now let's put this away, and if you're still with me and you're not bored, we'll go on to another box of cool stuff.
I'm not bored. This is interesting. This is history.
It is. It's our history. And the great thing about when you talk about toys and history is everybody had a childhood. Everybody was young and everybody played. And the big characters are bigger than ever now. I mean, the superheroes. I mean, the Avengers are the biggest thing in the world. Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, the Avengers. Everybody knows them. They're like Mickey Mouse. They're like Sherlock Holmes. They're like, you know, Hercules. These are our modern day pantheon. And so
exactly.
Tie that multi-generationally into everybody. Everybody goes, I know those characters. Here, Ruth, stay right there. I'm going to get another cool box. Ugh. Or maybe, here we go. Here's a cool box. There is a really big contingent of collectors out there that are into rubber monsters and jigglers, they call them. So here's one of my rubber monster suitcases. So
unbelievable.
So most of these are made by two different companies, Ben Cooper and Ahi. And they're just all pretty stinking amazing. So you can see there's, you know, like there's a Wolfman and there's a Wolfman. And they used to play like I wouldn't believe. I mean, they'd be like, and they would just play it all the time. And then you had monkeys and mummies and cavemen and Neanderthal monkey guys. And then these guys were super cool. Like, how could you not? That's a big grizzly bear. I mean, who's going to fight him, right? And
unbelievable for the time.
Oh, it was great. And then there's a whole series of these kind of bootleg superheroes that I love to death. I mean, here's a Frankenstein. And then here's another King Kong. These were called bendies. And because they've got wires in them. Remember that whole thing?
Yeah, that's right.
You know, so there's Fay Ray. Help, help, help me.
Great
and then,
idea.
And then, of course, here's the polar bear to fight the grizzly bear. Ha! Oh, they're going to roll off the edge of the cliff.
That's
Ah!
great.
And then we've got a big giant gorilla. Who could mess with him? Almost nobody. And
I've
there's
never seen one that big.
Yeah, he's pretty big. He's a big guy. I mean, how many guys would have to take him on? You know, I mean, you look at the power, King Kong, you know.
And look at the chain around his neck. He's chained to the suitcase so he doesn't go away.
Free. Gonna come get you. And yeah, I mean, there's just endless guys. I mean, we could spend a whole day in this suitcase, but more guys, more guys, more guys. Oh, there's kind of another superhero guy. Here was a back in the Batman craze. That was one of the Batman bendy guys, Gumby kind of guys. I can't
That's a
remember.
beauty. I've never seen that.
Now, if any of your viewers, like, I think this might have been Lakeside. If I make mistakes, it's because my memory's got as many holes as Swiss cheese. Just correct me. Send me something on Super Monster City. Every time I post pictures, I go, I'm not 100 million% sure. Now, here's another Batman by another company from the same time period. And I can't tell you to save my life who he's from. And he's a little bit melty, which is why he lives in a plastic bag. He doesn't play well with others in storage.
Sure.
So we'll put him back because you don't want to come back and find your guys all melted together.
Yeah, I know. You've got to keep them away from heat, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, heat's not good for him. You know, there's another. These were kind of slimy guys back in the day. They're not so slimy anymore, but they were cute and slimy and ugly. I mean, we could spend all day in one suitcase, but we won't. Your viewers can say, oh, look at that suitcase. And you know what? All the viewers that are watching right now of me in plastic talking and telling tales and making up stories, if you want to see more, our Facebook page has a lot of videos that Ruth and I have shot. And we've also got a YouTube channel. And I guess we've got an Instagram channel, but I don't even know how to understand that works. My partner and I have really gone great guns to try and get these toys out to people so that people can enjoy them. Our average, I mean, if you look on the website, you'll see the price and the breakdown and the times, but 6 weeks to 3 months at a museum. And we've got 3 levels. Like here's one of the programs we took to the museum conferences, America's Monsters, Supers, and Villains, a touring exhibition of vintage toys, games, posters, and more from the 1960s to the present. And then we show some pictures of people enjoying it, and we talk about what the 3 levels. There's the premium hero exhibit, which is everybody, and then there's the secret identity, which is a smaller exhibit for smaller venues, and then some of the real small venues and galleries want what we call the sidekick. So you can have all sorts of fun at your place, your space. So maybe some museum in Melbourne looks at this and goes, oh, we need America's Monsters, Superheroes, and Villains.
That's it.
I have one more box to show you before we start wandering around again, looking for something. I don't know what. This is a box. So I told you we've got an exhibit coming up to the West Coast pretty soon, right?
Yep.
Well, I'm the kind of collector, I always want to make sure there's too many toys in the exhibit. I want to make sure that the curator doesn't go, oh, this. And so I made this pile of extra guys that want to go. Because imagine I'm like a dad or like I'm a coach.
Yeah, of course.
I want all the toys to go, but no museum alive has room for the entire collection. So I made this pile, and I was going to smuggle them in just in case. But it turned out that we sent so much crap that we didn't need it. But I thought it's all really good stuff. You might get a kick out of it. So this guy was going to go. I don't know. He might be too new for you. Does that ring a bell, Dan? They're plastic.
Is that from Power Rangers?
Well, Masters of the Universe.
Okay.
Same era. Battle Cat, Masters of the Universe from Mattel. And then we've also got, I love this guy. This is the werewolf from Ghostbusters. And I always liked him because he howled. You see him howl? Oh, oh,
that's great.
And then you can never have enough of Ben Grimm in your life, can you?
No. And
then because I kept thinking, oh, maybe they need some more. I'm pretty sure this is an Ahi Dracula. Again, this would be 70s. This is pretty rare stuff. There's your Ahi Dracula, doll action figure. And so we've got to have this is what's called a T-stand, so that he stands up in the exhibit.
That's really rare, that one. I love that.
Yeah, he's pretty rare. I mean, the thing is, nothing in the crypts is for sale. And we don't have a store except for the books that we're selling. Because people will come up after the exhibit and say, can we buy it? And I go, no, because it's got to live on to the next city. It's got to live on for other people to appreciate. And let's take a look at some really cool. Remember I showed you those dirty mini monsters?
Yep.
From Frito-Lay? Here's, I think, most of the whole set. And they're pretty cool. I got a couple of mummies. Got 3 mummies, geez. And a couple of Draculas. There's the ghoul. The witch doesn't show up very well. There's a skeleton and a werewolf. And what was really fun, Daniel, or Plastic, excuse me, is
That's right.
when I was a kid, I was so in love with these toys that my mom wrote to Frito-Lay and said, my son loves these characters, and they sent me a whole envelope full of monsters. Can you believe that?
No, that's big.
That was big. And you imagine you're 8 years old and a big chunky envelope comes with 24 monsters in it.
Unbelievable.
What was even more amazing, I thought that was cool. I said, oh, Mom, the werewolf is my favorite. So she wrote him a second letter, said, he really loves the werewolves. They sent me an envelope full of werewolves. And and what was amazing, I hate to say, because I had so many stinking werewolves, they were often the first to die. They would, be burned and that kind of thing. Let's see who else we got. Here's a nice Joker. He was going to go, but he's not going. And then here's another set of guys. These were really popular. So we had the Mini Monsters MPC. And then here's another set of monsters from another company called Palmer. They're pretty rare as well. You've got the Creature, Gorgo, and the Frankenstein monster. You can see he's been an exhibit because he's got museum putty on his feet to stand up. And they're pretty cool. I mean, they're amazing. We used to dig in the dirt constantly. Oh, here's a cool guy. This is Sasquatch. Do you have a Sasquatch in Australia?
No, we don't have Sasquatch, but we got kangaroos.
But don't you have, so who's the monster that hangs out in the billabongs?
Sure, but we got Tasmanian Devil. I haven't seen that for a while either in Tasmania.
There you go. So this is from a company called Archie McPhee that I think has really cool stuff. In fact, if you want to look at another Archie McPhee thing, this was one of my favorites. I mean, how gory is that?
That's gory.
I love it. I mean, again, it needs a home. Some people might not appreciate that, but I do. And then here's another guy from that Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea set. I think he was also in Horrible Hamilton. And then here's a Silver Surfer. We'll see if we can get him on a surfboard. He could come to Australia, couldn't he? He's the Silver Surfer.
Exactly. He could surf all the way.
That's right. And I pity the shark that tries to get him, right?
Of course. He's in the air.
That's right. And then here's a series in the 70s that was pretty cool. This was from the Micronauts. And they were, I think it came from Japan, and then we sort of abducted the idea and turned it into a comic book and made that all happen.
That's great.
Here's a goofy alien that's cute. And another one of those cockamamies that, there's a whole pile of cockamamies downstairs for you to look at, but we haven't got there yet. Now, real quick, let's take a look. This was all going to go to a museum in case we needed it. This was like backup. You know how you go, okay, I better pack some extra sandwiches. This is what that was all about. But it didn't need to go because we ended up shipping so much stuff, and they were already thinking they had too much stuff going. And so I've got this amazing partner that's far more logical and precise than me. I'm the crazy guy, and he's the one that thinks. So here's some monster trading cards that we were going to send. And now some of these are spook stories. This was the first one that came out. And originally in the 60s, people were afraid that monsters would scare kids. So they always had to try and make it funny. That's why a lot of your original monster movie horror hosts made bad jokes all the time. This one's from a different series. This is Terror Tales. These are spook stories. This is You'll Die Laughing. Spook stories again. Spooks. But again, as a kid, you didn't care about, here's a Barnabas Collins. You remember him?
Of course. Dark Shadows.
You got it. Oh, and there's a Lily Munster card. So,
that's great. I love Lily Monster. Can we have a look at her for a minute?
There you go. There's Lily Munster.
And can I have a look at the back on that?
Sure. The Munsters.
Oh, that's great.
Let me read you the joke. Eddie, when I grow up, will I be big and strong like Dad? Lily says, "You will if you eat all the wrong food." Pretty good humor there. Now let's see what else we got kicking around in plain sight. Anything I can open and do you want to try and go down the front stairs?
Can I
and
ask you something? Have you got any Batman stuff there? Batman?
Batman stuff. Hang on. Where'd my glasses go? Where'd I lose them? I don't know. Who knows where my glasses went? They're
I'm
around
not
here somewhere.
surprised you can't find your glasses. Doesn't surprise me.
What do we got here? Well, I'm not seeing any
Batman Outer Limits.
What?
Batman Outer Limits. Gilligan's Island. Anything. Time Tunnel.
Well, here, Ruth will talk to you for a second. Maybe while I go. Hang on.
Sure.
I'm following him anyway.
That's right. Where's Batman? Where could Batman be?
Batman's big. Everybody loves Batman. You're doing a great job there, Ruth. At least he found his glasses. Now be able to find it.
Sorry, we left you and the microphone behind.
No, it's all right. I was commenting.
You're a good comment on and on and on. I'm trying to look for a box that says an easy box that says that it's going to say truth, justice, the American way, but unfortunately they're kind of all buried in the bowels of the pile.
Take your time. If you find Batman, you find Batman.
All right, well, come with me. Since we're on the first floor, let's follow me. Let's see if I can find a pretty cool box that'll inspire you, maybe.
Sure.
All right, we'll turn on some lights in here.
Exactly.
This is a guest room, as it were.
Unbelievable.
Oh, look what's front and center here. Oh, it's a heavy box. How about that? Can you see that?
Fantastic.
So this is Batman bubblegum and trading cards, and oh my goodness, there's a Joker. And there looks like some aren't even opened. Oh my goodness. Who knows? Who knew? And that must be the poster that goes with the whole box. I would have bought the whole box and opened up most of them. In fact, you know what? It looks like most of them I didn't open. What kind of craziness is that?
That's great.
Wow. There's gum in there, yeah. So when did that movie come out with Jack Nicholson? How long ago?
I don't know. What year was it?
I'm thinking it had to be, oh God, I'm thinking 80s.
I think so too.
Maybe mid to late 80s. So this gum has got to be like 40 years old. My goodness.
Don't taste it.
I'm not gonna. And then now we're kind of in a different room, but there's another good, these are pretty rare. I've heard amazing things about this. Comic book hero stickers. And of course I saved some in the wrapper, but unfortunately I opened them all. So these are stickers and they're all cute. So Iron Man's saying fight rust. You know,
They're great. Have you got digital photos of these on your website?
Not of the cards haven't made it that far because mostly we've been dealing with the toys. The toys
Sure.
are what go, but the cards are kind of a small piece of the ephemera that goes with it. And I have a really good friend that has been cataloging and organizing these for me. And so I never want to mess too much with his organization. He comes over about once a year. Like here's a bad box of unorganized stickers. Let's see if we can get another light in here. Hang on. Not that light. That light will never go out. All right.
Can I ask you, Dave?
Yeah.
You've heard of wacky plaques? You remember the wacky plaques?
Wacky packs. Yeah, I got a bunch of wacky packs somewhere.
That's great. Also, they were big.
Oh, yeah, they were huge.
And weirdos. Have you got weirdos?
Oh, yeah. In fact, heaven forbid, follow me. I've got something I don't think anybody else has. Did you know, Plastic, that there was weirdo wallpaper?
No. No.
Sorry, I'm losing you. I didn't mean to walk away. I have to tie this
That's
thing.
right. You got weirdo wallpaper, have you?
Have I got weirdo wallpaper? Let's go into my boyhood bedroom.
I've never seen
All right.
that.
So if Ruth can shine up on here, when I had this wallpaper put up back in second grade, my parents, Can you see that?
Yeah, I do.
So that's weirdo wallpaper.
Unbelievable.
That is pretty unbelievable. And then you were talking about the Beatles, right?
Yep.
I've had friends say, oh, why did your dad wallpaper to the wall? I don't even know if you can see this in this dark. But there's the original Palladium poster from '63.
That's great.
Not a repo, not a reproduction. But again, my father was so cool that we just wallpapered. He said, what do you want on your walls? Remember, posters were big, right?
Exactly.
And so we wallpapered that. And my dad's idea, if you look to the wallpaper right next to it, is he said, well, why don't we get castle wallpaper for the side walls? I went, ooh, that's a great idea. And then let's take a look. Oh my God, there's just junk everywhere. Here's a superhero lunchbox.
Oh, that's fantastic. Can we have a look at the outside of it as well?
Oh, the superhero thing?
Yep. The side of the box. Yeah, we've got to see
So
the pictures.
There's So there's the superhero front of the lunchbox.
Yeah, how rare is that?
Oh, probably. And then there's one of the sides.
Unbelievable.
And then there's the back with the Fantastic Four.
Oh, even better.
And then there's the Hulk having a bad day.
That's
Sorry.
great. I love that.
And then who else is on here? Oh, then on the back we got Iron Man and the Falcon.
You know, Dave, how good this would be to take digital photos and have a digital exhibition where everything's digital, just photos. That'd be great.
Well, we want to work towards, like I said, if you go to Facebook, I've been taking pictures left, right, and center willy-nilly of the stuff that I love. Sadly, I mean, like you said, like you see, there's just cajillions of things. And so, and I'm not a tech master, so just posting them isn't even, it's tough for me. Now let's wander over this. We like this shelf right here, if you can see it. There we go. So here's just another random shelf of mayhem. Let me get out of my own light.
Great.
So, you know, we've got new Masters of the Universe and old Masters of the Universe. We've got Thundercats right there. These are some lead soldiers. Some of these lead soldiers my father made back when he was a kid. You know, imagine you're a kid. Imagine you're a kid boiling molten lead on your mom's stove and pouring it into molds. That's just like
unbelievable.
That is unbelievable. And yeah, so this room hasn't changed much in my entire lifetime. There's just, but you mentioned the weirdo stuff, and that's the weirdo wallpaper that nobody's got.
I've never even seen it.
Nobody has. Nobody. And I mean, I hate to say, there are shelves here I have yet to get to. I mean, if
I like that Iron Man behind you on the wall on the left-hand side. Iron Man. Up there, up there. Up, up, up. That's it.
Now, that was a set of posters that Marvel sold directly back in like the mid-'60s. And so my father ordered the set, you know, and we didn't know about collecting or that who would ever care. So there's Iron Man and Captain America, and they're wallpapered to the wall. The Submariner is, if Ruth does a 360, there's a Submariner behind you if you can see him. See the Submariner there?
Yeah, that's great. This is why, as I said, if this is all digital photos, anything happens, at least you've got it on digital.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. And I also think, you know, someday, heaven forbid, I'll be, maybe Ruth will be selling this, or maybe I'll be at least going, you know, can't bring it all with me. Now, you were asking about Batman as well. Now,
Exactly.
Ruth, I don't know if you can take a look up there above the door.
That's a beauty.
So those are posters that DC sold. So there's a Batman poster, there's a Batmobile poster, and if you look in the corner, Ruth, there's the Batmobile, and I'll go up higher. There's a Penguin poster. You see all that?
Yeah, I see that.
So
Can I have a look at that Batman, the Batman car? What year is that? The one that's in the middle.
Well, that's the Batmobile. It says best wishes from Batman. These posters would have come out in about 566.
That's unbelievable. See, there's your rare art there to put on the net.
Well, but unfortunately, we've wallpapered it to the wall.
Yeah,
Oh,
but
by
the
the way,
great thing is when you take a digital photo, you can enhance it, and it doesn't
Right.
matter if it's on the wall or not. It's saved forever.
oh, right. Now, I don't know if you can tell, there's a picture of King Kong and the creature from the Black Lagoon up there too, above the
Yeah,
door.
that's great.
Well, now, you see the wallpaper behind it, which is totally obscured. That was Army Man wallpaper.
I see
Can you
it.
see can you see like that missile above King Kong?
Yeah, exactly.
So I had one wall of Army Man wallpaper. I had another wall of weirdo wallpaper. I had two walls of castle brick, and I had posters everywhere.
Unbelievable what you got.
Ruth's going to try and show you. It's going to be hard to see. I think it's going to be impossible to see. There's an Ilya Kuryakin. No, I think you have to get back further. There's an Ilya Kuryakin poster wallpapered to the wall. Can you see his hairdo?
I see it. That's unbelievable. How rare is that?
Pretty rare. And then, of course, there's a Planet of the Apes cereal bowl, and there's a bunch of other crap. So, yeah, so that's all good fun. So let's see, what else? Anything else I want to show you in here? Let's look at this shelf. You might find something you like down in here. These are just, you know, that guy was from a series, a DC series, The Warlord. This is from a series called Crystar and the Lava. The Lava People were bad news. And in the back, of course, you got the Gamorrean Guard. Yeah, so it's pretty much just mayhem incarnate here.
Unbelievable what you got. They don't exist, these things.
Well, you'd be surprised. Every time I meet collectors at an event, there's guys that have stuff I don't have, and there's guys that I have stuff they don't have. And you realize that not everyone can have everything. I just have to take pride in that I've got a lot of stuff.
Right.
You know, the internet has just shown us that, like, I thought I was the only guy out there with a house of crazy madness. But as you know, as you have seen, there are guys out there with houses of crazy madness. You've been there.
I went to a house and the guy had all monsters inside. It was great. 2 hours of monsters around his house. But you know what? The prices were a lot better back then when you bought this stuff, not now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you can't touch it now. I mean, that was the beauty of growing up. And yeah, everything was cheap, and my parents spoiled me. And gosh golly gee whiz, that was a piece of cake. Now, we might try and go down the front stairs into the basement. Ruth is frowning, but you want to give it a go?
It's up to you. If we lose you, we lose you.
That's right. And then we'll get back to you and we'll figure something out. Well, let's
Sure.
go into the front hallway and take a look at a couple of posters. Dun, da, da, da. Oh, here's a guy you know. This is one of my favorite ties. You know who the ghost who walks is? The man who cannot die?
Yeah, of course. What's his name again? The Phantom.
The Phantom. And he's bigger in Australia than he is in America.
That's true.
I bought this tie in Australia. I bought this tie in Australia.
Amazing.
You know? Yeah, I wish he was bigger here. He's older than Batman, but I think the reason he's not popular is he's not angst-ridden. He doesn't have a lot of problems. He's just like straightforward, heroic, milk-drinking dad, you know?
Fair enough.
Yeah. Now let's look at, do you know who Doc Savage is?
Yeah, I remember that.
Doc Savage, the Man of Bronze. He and the Shadow were the two great heroes of the 1930s in pulp magazines. And they made a resurgence in the 60s, and that's a poster they sold. He was kind of like pre-Indiana Jones. He was before Indiana Jones. He was part Superman, part Indian, part I don't know who, but he was the Man of Bronze, the arch enemy of evil. And as kids, we all wanted to grow up and be him, you know?
Exactly.
And so, yeah, I've had that poster around for a long time. And then let's wander over here. Have you heard of Frank Frazetta?
Let's see if it comes back to me.
Frazetta, now I'm in the antechamber of the front porch, so it sounds like I'm in a diving bell.
Looks
Frank
fantastic.
Frazetta, he started out as a comic book artist in the 50s, and he progressed into doing the Conan covers, and he worked a lot for magazines like Eerie and Creepy. And I always thought that would be me at the end of my life, fighting against a bunch of wolves. You know, that was how I wanted to go out. And speaking of James Bama, we were just talking about James Bama. We looked at the Jekyll and Hyde box. Here's another James Bama adventure. That's his Wolfman box.
He's unbelievable, that artist.
Yeah, he's famous for his Western art. You know, cowboys and Indians and pioneers and cattle and stuff like that. But That's what he's famous for, or he wishes he was more famous for. But of course, you know, geeks, we remember better than other people. You know,
Exactly.
we have an endearing spot. Go, no, no, no. Forget all that stuff. Who cares about cowboys and cattle? He did Doc Savage and he did Monsters. That's all that matters. So now we're going to try, heaven forbid, and if we lose you, we're still alive. We'll get a hold of you later, okay?
That's fine. If we lose you, this will be part 1.
All right. We're going down in the crypts, everyone. And if we don't make it, we'll send you a video of our trip. All right, everybody,
Take
be
it easy,
brave.
going down the stairs, Ruth.
So this house, by the way, Daniel, can you hear me?
Yep.
This house is over 100 years old. It's got more square footage than anybody's ever measured. And I've managed to fill it up with everything. Now, can you see that guy?
Yep.
Now, there's a company in town that's run by a couple of gals, and they repurpose and reuse thrift store mannequins and dummies. It's under the bed art or art under the bed. Google either one of them, you'll find their cool stuff. That guy was only like $40. How could you not want that in your house?
You just put him at the front door, then he'll scare anybody.
Oh, you bet. Now, hang on. Oh, can you hear that?
Yep.
That's a monkey. He's kind of going crazy right now. And here's Mr. Shivers behind you. He's going crazy right now. I got to go turn off. There's a DVD player. There's a CD player. Hang on. Stay right here. Don't go away. Ruth will pan around and show you everything.
Okay. Look at that one. Scary ass.
So there's lots of scary stuff in here because, like I said, I ran haunted houses straight from about 2000 to 2013. And I just, I collected all the stuff. And now I have, see, he just won't shut up. But there's a spirit poster. There's some more scary guys. And back of all these guys is more boxes full of toys that we can't even remember what's in there. So, like you said, it would be great to have it all archived. It would be amazing if everything was digital. I know.
Digital.
I mean, I'd have to hire an army of photographers and take a month off. I'd need to make a Quonset hut in the front yard so we could get through it all. All right, let's go into this room. We'll see if it keeps going.
Yeah, it's going.
Here's a pretty rare guy. I think he's rare. See him?
Yeah, that's a rare Frankie.
Well, he's actually a bank.
Okay.
And he came out in about the mid-'60s, and for decades, the myth was he was some Mexican bootleg knockoff, and that's what I referred to him as. But like you said, the internet's full of people that know more than we do. And so finally somebody posted that he's from the Best Plastics Corporation, 1960. So I taped that Post-it note to his back because, you know, I don't want to keep repeating bad information. So if any of your people see me referring to something wrong, just tell me. And again, if any of our people want to see more, go to the website, go to YouTube, and go to our Facebook page, because that's where all this stuff lives. And they can find out and see pictures of the exhibits and stuff too. Let's go over to this white cabinet. This got some cool stuff in it. Right in there. So this is just a cabinet of guys, kind of, not to say also-rans, but so you just tell me who you think is cool in there. That creature is an Aurora monster model back there.
Yeah, that one's cool.
Yep.
What year's that?
Which one?
The creature.
Creature from the Black Lagoon. Aurora monster model, 1962, 63.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, I hate to say I got like 3 of them. And then this was from Aurora put together a customizing kit. And this was the Mad Dog from the customizing kit. So you could make the creature and then put the Mad Dog in it. Or like you see this little lizard, he's from that customizing kit as well. And Aurora was no fool. They knew we wanted to make the models our own. And then, of course, you see the G.I. Joe in the back corner there.
Yep.
There you go. That poor G.I. Joe, he was in an exhibit and he came home to sleep. And let's go down to the second shelf here.
Do you remember the Ken doll that came out with Barbie?
Oh, yeah.
He was blonde, the first
Oh, yeah.
one.
Oh, yeah. Now, did you do G.I. Joe plastic?
Yeah, G.I. Joe was huge here, but I had a Ken doll,
Ah,
Oh, okay.
Ken, yeah.
the
my
original
sister-
one.
Well, where is he now?
I don't know. He's gone a long time ago, that one.
So, what have you got to say? Tell me about your collection. What
I've
have you
basically
got?
got music stuff. Monkeys, the Beatles,
Cool. Yeah.
music stuff. But this monster stuff is unbelievable.
Okay, let's take a look at the second shelf here. We got some cool guys in here. This is Godzilla's go-kart. Now, maybe, I don't know if you can see, it's Godzilla on a go-kart. So Aurora in the 60s wanted to appeal to the hot rod greaser kids that were buying Rat Fink and Weirdos, remember?
Yep.
So they put all their monsters in vehicles, and that's Godzilla's go-kart. And speaking of Revel, which did the Big Daddy Raw stuff, in the back there, missing one hand, sadly, if you can see him, is, God, what is his name? God, it escapes me. He's one of the Rat Fink trilogy people. There was Super Fink, Rat Fink, Brother Rat Fink, and this guy. And then there's a Phantom of the Opera from Marx. And that was a Marx toy that we played with heavily, intensely. And then if you see back there, there's a paperback novel, The Story of the Phantom by Lee Falk.
What year was that? 65?
No, you mean the Phantom book?
Yeah.
Phantom book, well, the Phantom started in like 1936, and Lee Falk wrote the first version in the 30s for Whitman Publishing, and it was called The Son of the Phantom. This is almost a direct reprint of that, and it came out in about early 70s. They were trying to create a new era. Doc Savage was out, The Shadow was out, there was all sorts of heroic fiction, and they came out with about 15 books for Lee Falk writing these books, and I've got most of them. Let's go down to the next shelf. Take a look who's down here. Now, over here, we got the Mummy. This is a mummy, right? Whoa. That's good. That's the Aurora mummy.
That's great.
And then if you go a little bit lower, Ruth, you've got this guy's from Star Trek. He's the ape monkey unicorn guy. This is a really cool, rare guy from a series. It was actually a DC series called Hall of Justice in 1966 or 65, Kenner. And that was Aquaman's villain. He used to have two heads, but I busted one of them off and used my mom's nail polish to make it look better.
Fair enough.
You can see. And then here's the Gorn. If you can see the Gorn, he's another Star Trek villain. And then right here's a pretty rare piece. If you can see him, these were bubblegum. They came in bubblegum machines. And that's Spider-Man, if you can't tell. And they were like a nickel. And I don't know anybody else. I haven't seen those anywhere else. Here's another one of those pieces from the customizing kit, if you want to take a look at that. I mean, how can you go wrong? Snakes in a skull. Oh, and there, of course, is the Phantom. I try and give the Phantom more play because nobody loves the Phantom enough.
I believe that they love the Phantom, as you said, in Australia. He was huge, still is.
In Australia and in Sweden, he's huge. But the rest of the world, he's left for dead. Now let's go down to the bottom shelf here. As you can see, we've got an Aurora Frankenstein there.
Yep.
That's an Aurora model from about, I don't know, 62. Frankenstein was the first Aurora model. Aurora wanted to come out with these monsters because the monster kid craze, if you're not familiar, that started about 58. And it was because monster movies were released to TV for the first time because independent stations needed programming, and they came out with shock theater. And Aurora wanted to get on the bandwagon of monsters because, you know, Forrest J. Ackerman started publishing his magazine, right?
Yep.
Famous Monsters of Filmland. And so then the story goes that they made this Frankenstein model and they took it to the toy fair, and none of the reps, all the reps just went, you know, it's too scary. Aurora had to hire psychologists to go, oh no, children won't be able to work their way through their problems. It's like fairy tales. But when some kids came to the conference with him and saw that model, they just went straight to it. And that's when they said, wait, we have something here. This is working. And then, as you can see, maybe down there, if Ruth's got to kneel down, there's a really cool Tyrannosaurus Rex there. See him?
Yep.
I just found out he's from a Flintstones playset I had. And I painted his lips and eyes red, and he's way fiercer than Fred Flintstone deserves. I couldn't believe he was part of that set. And then if you pan over a little bit, Ruth, there's the Phantom again. He's a keychain I got in Tokyo. If you focus in there, I don't know if it does, but perfect. All right. Oh, and then just so you know, right here, we were talking about MPC mini monsters. Now, can you see that little guy?
Yep.
Before Frito-Lay gave away mini monsters, they gave away mini Martians. And I've got a series of them. That's the only one I've found lately. There's a whole set of them somewhere. As you can tell, Daniel, Mr. Plastic, you know, I can't find everything every day. Now, we're just about, Ruth and I are going to shoot a thing about jigglers again. These are cockamamies, most of them. So I got out all my cockamamies. I don't know if you can get out of the light. What light do we need?
Unbelievable, all made of rubber.
Yeah, yeah. And
what year did they come out? Early 60s?
Mid-60s, and they're based on most of these guys that look like this, the real ugly, strange, grotesque ones, if Ruth can get a good picture of them. They're sort of taken from Basil Wolverton was a 50s and 60s comic book artist, and he drew just outlandish creatures. And so they're sort of based on him. Like, here's guys with 4 eyes, you know, and then, you know, here's guys with big tongues coming out of them. You know, here's goofball guys. And they're real popular among a certain age group. And so Ruth and I are going to film something later. That's why I got all these guys out, and I thought I'd show them to you too.
Fantastic. I love that.
Yeah. All good rubber guys. And then someday, when we've got more table space, now, do you remember Thingmaker Plastic?
Yes. We heard of it. Yep.
Well, so Thingmaker was from Mattel, 60s onward, and you made your own toys. One of the coolest toys ever. Maybe my Desert Island toy, because you made your own toys. These are all full of rubber monsters I made in steel mold like that. So there's like a steel mold. You'd fill it full of liquid. You'd put it on a 400-degree hot plate, and then you'd be off to the races, making your own guys. And
unbelievable.
A certain vintage really likes that. And I pulled all the store-bought guys out of these bags for another shoot. And someday we'll look at these, Daniel, someday. And like I said, people know stuff. Here's a guy, I can never keep track of what this guy's name is. Anybody out in your world know who he is? I think he's from a Full Moon Monster production.
That's great.
His name is, I don't know what his name is. I keep forgetting it. So let's go back into one more room. This is the room at the back of the house where we lost connection. So if we scream and holler, you know, just pretend we're having a good time.
Sure.
There's more catacombs down that way, but we'll go down there later some other time.
Unbelievable. I don't know how you find your kitchen.
Huh?
I don't know how you find your kitchen.
Well, Ruth gets lost here all the time. Now we're going down a spooky hallway, and all these boxes are all full of comic books.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's kind of unbelievable. I'm still collecting comic books and toys, and that's pretty much the strength of everything. How are you doing for a reception?
Have you got a lot of Dell TV comic books? The TV shows?
Yeah, I've got TV shows. Maybe if we can have reception, I'll show you some stuff. By the way, here's something. I pulled this out. Here's a Godzilla ice cube tray I got in Tokyo.
Yep.
And then we're going to play this because this is one of my favorite toys. I've yet to get him out of the box, but I had to buy him because he's so cool. Let's see if you can hear this. Now, this is a stretch screamer. Can you see him?
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to test him out here.
I can hear that. Sounds like me at dinner time.
I mean, you know, how could you not want that as a kid?
Exactly.
And I bought that as an adult.
It sounds like me when I want my dinner.
What was that?
Sounds like me when I want my dinner.
There you go. I think we might be cutting out.
No,
there you
you're
go.
right.
Are we doing okay? Now here's that guy from that you liked before. He's just hanging around.
Yeah, he's scary. Where did he come from?
I bought him at a haunted house convention. I went to a haunted house industry conference, early 2000s, and bought him. And I've been using him for the last 20 years to scare kids. So
I got relatives that look like that.
well,
They
so
scare me.
there you go. Now let's go on in here. We're still good?
Yeah, that clown looks scary in the corner there.
Well, how was that? I'm Collector Dave, the master super duper collector of monsters, heroes, villains, ephemera, pop culture, carnage, mayhem, and scary stuff. What did you think of that tour? If you liked it, share it with your friends. If you want to know more, reach out to us either at Plastic EP or on Super Monster City. We're both on Facebook. If you want to know more about our exhibits and what we do, look at supermonstercity.com. We've got a YouTube page and we're on Instagram. So I'm glad you came along for the ride. I'm glad you made it all the way to the end. I hope your nightmares are wonderful and that your dreams come true. Thanks again. Bye-bye.